Hi, I'm Kelsey Hollowell, and today we are going to learn about geometry. The word geometry comes from the root word geo, which means earth, and metron, which means measurement. The definition of geometry is a branch of mathematics concerned with questions of shapes, size, relative position of a figure, and the properties of a shape. Today, when we're learning geometry, we are going to be using the Van Healy model. And the Van Healy model is a 5-level hierarchy model that describes the progression of children's spatial geometric understanding. Each level describes the thinking process used in geometric context and how we think about those ideas. So, within the Van Healy model, there are 5 levels, but in elementary school, we only see the first 3 levels, which those 3 levels are level 0, which is visualization, and we usually see that in students that are in pre-K, kinder, or first grade. Level 1 is analysis, and we can see this in students in kinder, first, second, or third grade. And the final stage that we usually see in elementary school is level 2, which is informal deduction. And we usually see this in the upper grades, such as 4 and 5. These grades are just like usually when we see students going through these levels, but they do not have to go at these certain times. So you could still have a second grader in level 0 if they hadn't progressed onto level 1 yet. And within the Van Healy model, there are several misconceptions. The first misconception is sequential, which is a person must proceed through the levels in order. To function at a higher level, students must have acquired skills of the level below it. So this means that a student cannot jump from level 0 to level 2. The students must go in order from level 0 to level 1 to level 2. Our second misconception is advancement, which is the progress or lack of from level to level depends on the content and method of instruction received and not age. There is no instructional method that allows students to skip. So the second part of this has to go back to number 1. They can't skip grade levels. They must go in order. And how I was talking earlier about the grades, advancement is not on age. So those are just usually when we see students going from level to level, but it doesn't have to be a set in stone. A student will be in level 1 in first grade. Our third and final misconception is mismatch, and that is if a student is at one level and instruction by the teacher is at a different level, the desired learning and progress will not occur. So this means that if you have students in your class that are on level 0 and level 1, you as a teacher need to make sure that you are teaching down to the level 0 students as well, and not just teaching to the level 1 students, because your level 0 students will just be confused and lost, and they will never learn because they're always not understanding the material that you're teaching on a level 1 level. So you have to remember to teach down to those students that are not, you have to remember to teach at the same level that your students are at. Okay, well now we're going to learn 2 ways to teach, and the first way I'm going to teach is using level 0, and level 0 is kindergarten, and our TEK for kindergarten is classify and sort a variety of regular and irregular 2- and 3-dimensional figures regardless of the orientation or size. So something to remember when you are working with level 0 students is that the students are able to describe the figure using the names of shapes. They can copy a shape, and they can draw or construct a shape, and they can separate the shapes into different categories, but they are not able to focus attention on the properties of shapes, and they cannot compare shapes based on their properties. So now I'm going to have Miss KK come over, and she's in kindergarten. And so KK, can you please sort these shapes in any way you'd like? Okay, very good. So did you sort these by color?
Yes.
Okay, well that's a very good way to sort them, but maybe we could sort them in a different way since we're working with shapes and geometry. So could you maybe pick a few shapes and sort them into different categories? Okay, so now you have 3. What are your 3 categories?
This is an Easter egg.
Uh-huh.
This is a piece of pizza, and this is a window.
A window. Those are very good. I see eggs and windows and pizza. I think that's great. Thank you, Miss KK. Okay, now we are going to work on level 1, which I'm going to teach a 2nd grade lesson, and the TEK is compose 2-dimensional shapes and 3-dimensional solids with given properties or attributes. So with teaching level 1, you have to be able to, students will be able to compare shapes based on properties, which they are not able to do in level 0. And however, in level 1, students are not able to explain the relationships between the properties. So they can sort based on properties, but they can't really give you a relationship between the different properties. Okay, so now I'm going to have Miss KK come back, and she's already grown up so fast. She's in 2nd grade. Okay, KK, I'm going to give you, I'm thinking of a shape in my head, and I'm going to give you some directions, and you're just going to draw any shape that follows that rule, okay?
Okay.
So my first rule is draw a quadrilateral. So any shape that has 4 sides. Okay, that has 4 sides. Yeah, that's fine. That's great. I like that. Okay, your next step is to draw a shape that is a quadrilateral and the opposite sides are parallel. So that means that the opposite sides will run and then they never touch. They'll never cross. A square. Those are opposite sides are parallel. And our last direction is opposite sides are congruent. So that means that the opposite sides of each other are the same. So what is your final shape, do you think?
A rectangle.
Do you think I'm thinking of a rectangle?
Yes.
Yes, you are correct, KK. You're so smart. Thank you. I like the way you follow directions. Okay, so to wrap up what we have learned, we are just going to repeat the definition of geometry, which is a branch of mathematics concerned with questions of shape, size, relative position of a figure, and the properties of a space. And today, when we were teaching geometry, we used the Van Healy model, which is a 5-level hierarchy model that describes the progression of children's spatial geometric understanding. And within the Van Healy model, we only looked at 2 levels, but there are 3 levels within elementary school. And today we looked at level 0, which is visualization, and we did kindergarten. And level 1, which is analysis, we did a 2nd grade lesson. So just to review the misconceptions, that when students are using the Van Healy model, they cannot skip levels. They must follow the levels in order. And the second one is advancement. And so The progress or lack of level to level depends on the content and methods of instructions received, and it doesn't matter the age. And then number 3, and the probably one of the more important ones, is mismatch. So when you're teaching to your students, make sure that you're teaching to their level and not to like a higher level, or your students will always be lost. Thank you for watching.